Welcome back. This is E-Vibes, the entertainment show on Signature TV. Live here with me is Anyam Beauty. She's a spoken word artist, and we'll be talking about cultural significance of spoken word. She's been here before. I know the surprising thing, she's actually a student nurse. So you can imagine medical doing literature. Anyways, thanks for joining, Beauty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How you doing?
I'm fine. Thank
It's been a while.
you. Yes.
Did you miss me?
Of course.
All right, let's talk here. So, what do you think is the cultural significance of spoken word?
Mhm. Spoken word is beyond poetry. You
Okay.
get. I feel like spoken word is a living tradition that carries the heartbeats of culture.
Okay.
You get. Because before written words, communities has always kept these storytelling stuffs, has passed values, histories, and identities through chants, oral performances, storytelling. So I feel spoken word is something that keeps that legacy going.
Okay. So, in your view, what makes spoken word different from poets, poet writing, poem writing?
Mm, spoken word is actually should I say, spoken word is the oral presentations of poetry.
Okay. Okay.
Because in spoken word, everything goes in alignments. You get, if you can make good poems, then you can also be a good spoken word artist. But at the same time, not everyone can perform. So some people are good or better performers than writers, while some people are better writers than performers. But like I will always say, a poem is best performed by the writer.
Fact, actually, because
Yes,
that person knows how to. So, but
exactly.
you write, right? You write the
Yes,
poem.
all my performances or any performance I have, any poem I perform is written by me.
And you're a nurse.
Yes, I'm a nurse.
How do you even blend that?
Mm, I feel like when it comes to this poetry, spoken word stuff,
Yeah.
it flows. Like I don't stress to do anything because it's just like in me. It's just a talent. It's just a gift.
Okay. All right. So, what role do you think language and dialect has actually played in spoken word?
Okay, firstly, when it comes to spoken word, it is an avenue for communication.
Mm.
Yes.
But they don't respond to the spoken word artist.
Yes. See, the communication I mean doesn't mean communication. I don't mean interaction. I mean emotional interaction,
Okay.
being able to influence people intellectually.
Okay.
You get, is also a means of communication. Because imagine when you perform a, let me say, emotional poem, and then you're actually reaching out to people's emotions.
Uh-huh.
You've communicated with them even without you speaking.
Uh-huh. So, what do you
That's
think? Do you think spoken word is a modern continuation of ancient storytelling? You know, you said that earlier. But
of
do you?
course.
Okay. But it has a different language. It's most times they don't speak direct words. It's like it's idiom or something.
Okay, okay, wait, actually. I believe that spoken word is just an extension of storytelling.
Okay.
You see these ancient storytellings, chants, oral performances. I feel like spoken word is what it brings a bridge between the past and the present. Because I feel like spoken word is just a modified way
Okay.
of storytelling. But then in a scenario whereby you are more coordinated and all that, you know, those storytelling stuffs were ancient stuffs and where people gather to listen to someone express
Talking
themselves,
about tortoise and
talking
lion
about
and all.
hair, something and all that. So spoken word is actually something like that.
So do you think it has breached generational gap?
Of course, because if not for spoken word,
Mm.
I think poetry would have been dead by now. Storytelling would have been dead by now. Yes. And most of oral performances too would have been somehow down by now.
Okay. So, how has the rise of digital platform transformed the reach of cultural influence in spoken words? Like the way we have phones now, computers, teleprompters, you know. So, how has it transformed, reached the cultural influence of spoken word?
Of course, you see, devices has actually helped because in those days when it comes to storytelling, our mind we didn't we don't think vast as of then. We're always talking about tortoise, this one, the lion and his people. You get, now we are talking about, you can see people performing poems about the economy of a country, about people's emotional problems. You see, in those days, you'd see people, you might be going through a particular problem and you think you're actually the only one in that. But today in social media, you'd be like, ah, so this thing happening to me is happening to someone else. So I feel like this advancement when it comes to technology, you get, these technological innovations has also helped because now you come out, you see things and you see that this thing is a rising issue.
Yeah.
People are seeing this, people are experiencing this, and you decide to perform that, write about that, and then you're actually reaching out to people, their emotions. So I would say poetry is healing.
Okay.
Spoken words is amazing.
Okay. So, do you see spoken word as something that travels beyond borders, or something that is just rooted in a place?
I would say spoken word travels beyond and beyond and beyond more of borders because, like I just said, then storytelling was confined. You get, people don't think about, then there was nothing like governments, economy did
Are
this
you
one.
sure?
Yes, they were just thinking about their family, children, how to raise
Yeah.
their children. You get,
Yeah.
so you see that more of the times, you get, I feel like spoken word travels beyond borders because now you're communicating with people, not just people around you, but people far and wide. You get, people from different cultures, from different countries might watch your performance, and at the same time you're trying to pass a particular message. So it travels beyond borders.
So let's come back to the cultural significance. What exactly is that cultural significance? You've made mention of, um, in those days, how they give us stories, folk tales,
Yes.
and all that. And now we are speaking to resonate with people that have the same mindset with you or experience
Yes.
with you. So, what exactly is that cultural significance aside from that folktale storytelling?
Okay. I feel like spoken word is actually a medium for people to exercise their culture, show themselves. You
Okay.
get, firstly, you can write a poem about a particular culture. You can write a poem about a particular food, a particular over rising issue. You get, you can write a poem about, let me say you wrote about racism.
Okay.
You get, you're not just reaching out to the Igbos or the Yorubas, you're reaching out to the whole Africans. You get, so I feel like culture, spoken word is something that it plays a very huge impact when it comes to culture because it gives people the medium for communication, like I said before, not just physical interaction but emotional
Emotional.
and intellectual interaction. So I feel like someone who understands poetry properly and then spoken words too, then would understand what poetry means in culture. You
Do you
get?
think do you think tribalism can maybe come in when it comes to the cultural significance of spoken word?
I feel like no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because I feel poetry is something that brings together, spoken word brings together. When it comes to physical performance and people from far and wide comes to watch you or listen to you, or you post on social media and different people from different countries and different areas watch you, you get, you are not, they might not be physically there with you, but they are emotionally watching you. They are intellectually listening to you. You get? So I feel like it doesn't bring any form of
Tribalism.
tribalism or racism. But then poems, you can still have poems that can be against tribalism, racism, and all these things. You get? Because obviously, when we talk about cultural tolerance and all these things, we talk about bringing the Igbos, Yorubas, and Hausas together for us to be one and all. So you can write a poem of unity and all these things. You get? So people would understand it in different perspectives and different meanings, but all the same, what are you trying to say? That there should be unity. So I feel like spoken word is, it brings people together. It doesn't bridge anything at all.
All right. So you said something about you speaking your own poem, right? Is it possible? Why are you laughing? Is it possible for someone to write a poem and not being able to come out and talk about it or even read it?
Of course, yes.
Because of what? The person is shy?
I feel like people have various personalities. You get? People have various personalities. So when it comes to performance, not everyone has the ability to perform. Some people naturally, let me just take for instance, some people naturally have a very low voice. For instance, you wrote a poem about rape, emotional heartbreak, and all those stuff. Some people's voice and their expression can't even show that in the roots. So that's why most times you see some people, they can write properly, but to perform it is a
What if they're
problem.
just reserved?
That's why I said people have various personalities. You get?
So you think because that person is reserved, people cannot resonate, or because maybe he or she voice is not that loud, because I've actually had a poet here, and she's very reserved, very quiet, and all that. Even when you ask her to go be aggressive, be agitated, or something, she's still very reserved. But with whatever she says, if you're paying attention, right?
You're going to get it.
Exactly. So are you saying, so because that person is reserved, people cannot be able to resonate? Communication is not being passed at that point.
You see, the fact is that communication doesn't mean when you shout, when you scream, when you're too agile. I feel like every poem comes with its own expression. You get?
Okay.
So when you want to perform, let me say, a love poem or something, of course you don't need to be shouting now. You have to be calm. You get? So I feel like when it comes to those, that's why I feel like these calm people you're talking about, mostly they would produce calm poems with emotions. You get? Calmness and all that. Because I feel like no matter how calm you are or anything, when it comes to a poem that needs action, you need to add that action. If not, there will be misconception of information. Do you get?
Absolutely.
There will be misconception of information. Because I feel like everyone has the way they express themselves, and each poem passes a particular message.
Yeah.
So if you're unable to pass that message the poem is coming with, you're talking about rape, and then you're so calm, and so you need to put yourself in the shoes of
Someone that's
whom
been
was
raped.
raped. You get? So that's it.
So, which would you say is more therapeutic? Reading the poem or listening to the poet?
Okay. They are both therapeutic, but then listening to the poet, in the sense that the poet is a better interpreter of the poem, that's when you say it was functional.
Okay.
But then reading the poem, you get, most times it takes a lot to understand a poem. If you are not smart, or you get, you won't understand the poem very easily, because most poems are, they are kind of, should I say, very figurative.
Thank you very much. That's the word I've been
Yeah.
looking for. Because I've tried reading the poem and I'm like, I think I understand what you're saying, but
Yes.
go straight to the point.
See, some poems are very figurative, and if you're not smart, you will not understand them. You get, there was actually a poem, I think, The Good Moral. I read that poem when I was in, I think, SS1 in secondary school. And that poem is actually, they were all talking about, is an erotic poem.
Okay.
Then I think our principal was like, why should they be giving us an erotic poem to read, that kind of stuff? Because that poem, it was like, okay, they were like, all those love songs. Do you know, I did not understand that poem until our vice principal explained that poem, because it was our literature lecture. He was like, that poem is trying to show when two lovers were little, and then all these hiding under the tree, hiding at the backyard, now they are finally grown and they're no longer hiding. They now want to make everything official and get married and live together. No one will query them. I was like, so is this thing that this poem is trying to explain things that I've not even understood?
And that's because someone had to
explain it. So I feel like poetry sometimes becomes more therapeutic when it is best interpreted, because most times some people cannot understand a poem just like that.
Are there, how do I put this now? You know, when they say characteristics of you make me laugh so much. When they say characteristics of a human being, what makes a human being and all. So what do you think makes a good poet?
Firstly, emotional stability.
Okay.
Your ability to put and add emotions at the appropriate places they are meant to be.
Okay.
You get? Now, secondly, your ability to be stable when you're writing. Because most poets, on the process of writing one particular thing, you would lose track. Then it will enter another thing. You get? So your ability to be stable, your emotional stability, your ability to add emotions to your words. There are some poems you read, nobody has interpreted them for you, nobody has performed them.
Yeah.
But by reading them, you already understand what that person is. You already understand the emotions of the person that wrote that poem. Yes.
Can you do a performance for us? Not emotion now. Anger, pain. That's also an emotion. But anyways. I know you're laughing now, but I want to see the switch.
Okay. Let me say. Okay, let me. Okay, what kind of poem do you want?
Pain.
Pain. Okay. Let me use education.
Okay.
And life as the poem stuff. Okay, let me just say. No one talks about how hard it is to struggle and not make a living. No one talks about how painful it is to make efforts without no results. Education is hard. No one gets to talk about how frustrating going to school can be. Graduating without any source of income, working without any source of survival. No one talks about how frustrating it is to wake up every day, going to work, working hard and striving hard, knowing fully well that your present occupation will not give you the standard life you deserve.
Facts. You know, there's something striking about your voice, right? Even if someone is sleeping, the person would wake up to hear what you're saying, no matter what. And that's one thing I like about your spoken word. I know I like the calm people. Would you allow me say those people with calm personalities should do more of calm poems and not talking about activism and all those kind of things? Or would you say they should also explore?
I think they should explore, but then the interpretation of the poem shouldn't be done by them.
Abi?
Yes.
All right.
Do you know, if you go to, there's a guy on TikTok, Eras to something.
All right, they said our time is up, so we need to. We'll continue that story after the show. Anyways, thank you so much, Beauty Anyam. I had great time talking about this with you.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you did too.
Of course I did.
All right. The show has come to an end. Join us same time tomorrow for more insightful, interesting conversation, trending topics, stories that's making rounds in the entertainment industry. Follow all our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and enjoy the rest of your day. I am your baby girl, Queenette Mokunta.